Any profession has its ups and downs, and architecture is no exception. I just released a video, The Best Things About Being an Architect, so naturally you may have seen this video coming. What are the worst things about being an architect?
Where do you start? No, not at all.
Deadlines and the stress that comes with them. You try to monitor it as much as you can, but every now and then you will get caught out, or you'll just have to put in some extra hours. Sometimes that can get pretty hard.
The pushes for deadlines and things like that, where you've just had a really big week and your mind's just constantly thinking of the things that you need to be doing. But then that passes, and that's always a relief.
Everybody, as an architect, have a utopian idea, depending on all the different demographics, socioeconomics, and all of these different aspects that come into to create the whole system of a city. It can be quite frustrating if there are opposing arguments. The other thing is that if you are producing and quite emotionally involved into a project as well, and if things don't go through the way you want it to, it can be quite frustrating.
Architecture is undervalued for its skill set. That's a hard bracket to push against. In domestic architecture, there's a lot of other competitors on the market that say that they do the same as what we do, and so it becomes a challenge. Too often you have to sell yourself, which is not as easy for architects as it is for other professions. Sometimes high expectations from people, which, things outside of your control, you just have to let go of those things sometimes.
Squash tight time frames are always never particularly enjoyable, but at the same time there's something about them that you kind of get that buzz that you get when you're working like a crazy person, so somehow they're weirdly enjoyable as well, I guess.
When there are constraints with things, cool, like what I'm doing now, I just put a really cool stair in, and then of course you zoom out on plan form and the hallway's this big, and you think, oh great. So, and not being able to just move everything back for it, because that's lots of money. So
it's probably just the amount of work that we get through and the amount of time that we have is probably by and large the biggest thing. You're constantly having to be pushing, which is any jobs like that, I guess, really, at the end of the day. So
The occasional long hours, although it hasn't been too bad this year. I feel like it's been a lot worse in the past. Probably dates back to I was in Melbourne for 5 years working over there, and I think the long hours in that and the time and stress involved with that I didn't love.
I mean, just the volume of emails and stuff that comes through. There's just a lot of stuff to get through every day, which sometimes it's necessary, a lot of the time it's not necessary. So it's dealing with those sorts of things. It's easy to get consumed in managing the volume of stuff and not taking the time to think about what needs to be done.
You can do something that really works well, it's really cool, you love it and you're really happy with it, and then you can have the flip side, and that's really quite depressing at times, when that happens. And anyone that says that they've never had that is lying.
I once had a long list of why do I do architecture, But I think over time that list has really whittled down. There's not very much that I don't enjoy about architecture, because I think if you go into any professional vocation, it's got its bad points and it's got its good points. Most of the things that I've said today about, example, long hours, etc. I think it's a mindset, really. Doing those long hours doesn't mean it's a chore, and you're actually savouring and enjoying doing what you're doing. So as long as you enjoy what you're doing, I don't think there's anything bad about it. People can lament about fees and long hours and devaluing and the profession not having the standing amongst other professions, etc. But it's up to the individuals to change that. And if you have a really healthy attitude, then those things shouldn't be an impediment to your career. You should enjoy it and savour it and get the most out of it. Yeah.